He walked into the old train depot and never came out. The train returned, but he stayed inside, and now it rides through the dark, alongside those who were never buried. Some buildings just get old, but some rot from the inside slowly, without a sound. This is the story of a train depot where one day a whole train vanished, with people inside. They found the train, but not the people. He was an industrial photographer, captured bridges, tunnels, abandoned factories. He heard about the depot by accident. Locals called it the silent yard. No guards, no cameras, just silence. He thought one night, take a look, take a few shots, and leave. He entered at dusk. The door was broken. Inside, the smell of oil, rust, and mold. The air was heavy, like before a thunderstorm. He walked past crumbling platforms and twisted rails, and then heard it. A horn. Distant, faint, like from another time. But the railway had been shut down for over 20 years. On one of the tracks, he noticed a damp footprint. Fresh, like someone had just walked past. Further down, a single abandoned car, its door slightly ajar. Inside, empty, but the walls were clawed. Deep, ragged scratches in the metal. On the floor, someone had written, "I never left. He took me." He froze, then turned around and heard a voice. Low, hissing, like it crawled through pipes. "He's coming!" He spun around and saw it. A black train, long, filthy, no windows, standing perfectly still, yet it felt alive. The door slid open by itself. He stared and stepped inside. The door slammed shut. The train jolted and moved. No sound, no lights. The rails beneath were rusted and dead, but the train kept going. Steady, heavy. He was alone inside. He walked through the cars, each one the same. Rotting wood, peeling metal, cold air. But in every car, it felt like someone had just left. Warm dust trails, shifting silence. He wasn't alone, but he didn't want to turn around. The sound of wheels faded. It felt like the train wasn't going forward, but deeper, into something hollow. Outside, there was no night, no landscape, just blackness, thick and moving. And then, the train stopped. He stepped outside. Same depot, but different. Burned, broken, roofless, like a ruin left in place for a century. He knew it was the same place, but time was wrong, very wrong. He tried to go back, but the train door was gone. That car, now sealed, smaller. He ran down the length of the train, but it was endless, and he was utterly alone. He screamed. His voice echoed against metal and faded. He dropped to his knees, dizzy, heart pounding. Then, a burning smell, coming from inside his chest. He felt a sharp pain, real, crushing, like his heart turned to iron. He gasped, struggling to breathe. His hands clenched the dirt, his pulse slowing. Then nothing. He screamed. His voice echoed against metal and faded. He dropped to his knees, dizzy, heart pounding. Then, a burning smell, coming from inside his chest. He felt a sharp pain, real, crushing, like his heart turned to iron. He gasped, struggling to breathe. His hands clenched the dirt, his pulse slowing. Then nothing. He was still, alone, among rusted tracks and black, dead cars. He didn't know if he had died, or if he had been absorbed, because in the distance, he heard his own name, whispered in a stranger's voice, from inside the train, then silence again. Days later, someone found his car parked near the depot, empty. On the front seat, a notebook with the final entry. The train left. I was inside, but I don't think it was my way home. They never found him. Not a trace. But locals say, some nights if you walk too close to the yard, you can still hear steel rattling in the dark, even though no trains run there anymore. He went below ground, lower than even metro staff are allowed to go. Officially, that tunnel doesn't exist. But the rails were there. And the tunnel was real. Now he isn't. He was a subcontractor. Inspections, ventilation checks, electrical maintenance. The old metro line had been closed for years, sealed, abandoned, forgotten. But on the old blueprints, there was a label, -1. Level -1. No one knew what it was. He decided to check. Alone. The metal creaked. The service elevator didn't work, so he took the emergency stairs. Step after step. Half an hour down. The concrete was wet. The lights flickered. His radio signal got weaker, then disappeared. At the bottom, there was a narrow hallway. Old. Rotting. Rails stretched into darkness. The air smelled like rust and moisture. And something else. Like something was smoldering inside the walls. He turned on his headlamp and walked. Every step echoed too loudly. Then he heard it, a train. No lights. No motion. Just sound. He pressed against the wall. But nothing passed him. And the sound was now behind him. He noticed a side passage. The door was half open. On the wall, something was scratched into the metal. No return beyond this point. He thought it was a joke, and stepped inside. There were no more rails. Just a wet maintenance corridor. Narrow. Cold. On the floor, footprints. Bare. Small. And fresh. The deeper he went, the colder it became. Then hotter. His breath caught in his throat. His pulse was too loud. The lights started flickering. He felt something close. No footsteps. No breath. Just presence. Ahead, a figure. Tall. Thin. Wrong. He shouted silence. The figure vanished. Then, behind him, laughter. He turned, no one there. But lying exactly where he had just walked was his uniform. Dry. Folded. As if he had never put it on. The deeper he went, the colder it became. Then hotter. His breath caught in his throat. His pulse was too loud. The lights started flickering. He felt something close. No footsteps. No breath. Just presence. He stopped walking. Not by choice. His body just froze. Like something pressed down from above. His muscles locked. His eyes stung. He collapsed. And saw it, a hollow in the wall. Inside it, bones. Human. Dozens of them. Still fresh. He tried to scream. Only a rasp came out. The light died. Darkness swallowed everything. And in that darkness, he heard footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. Getting closer. He tried to close his eyes, but couldn't. Something leaned over him and whispered, "Now you're one of us." He felt nothing now. No pain, no cold, no fear. Just emptiness. He was gone. Silently. No trace. No scream. No chance. 2 weeks later, his name was removed from the system. Official report. Lost during tunnel inspection. But sometimes, the Metro Control Board shows a strange blinking line. No name. Just a -1. And if you listen to the audio feed, you can hear footsteps coming from far below, and a faint voice saying, "Still riding?" He boarded the ship to check its emergency transmitter. It had been drifting for 3 days. No crew, no distress call. It just appeared on the horizon. When he climbed aboard, his radio signal cut off. And once he went below deck, there was no way back. Old cargo vessel. No markings. Paint peeled off, rust everywhere, but the hull was intact. Port authorities didn't want to touch it. He agreed to go alone, for extra pay. Just inspect, log, and leave. They told him the crew probably abandoned ship, but the lifeboats were still there. He walked across the upper deck. No footprints. Nothing. But on the door to the captain's bridge, smeared handprints. Dozens of them, as if someone had been clawing. Inside, empty. But the radio worked. And in the headphones, someone breathing. Slow. Raspy. He assumed it was interference. He climbed down below. The metal creaked. The air was heavy and wet. Dark smears on the walls. At first he thought it was oil. But the smell was different. Sweet. Warm. In the engine room, total darkness. And in the shadows, something exhaled. He turned on his flashlight. Nothing. But the floor was wet. And his boots started sticking. Down the hallway, the crew's quarters. Everything looked abandoned mid-use. Beds unmade. Clothes scattered, as if the crew left in a rush. One door had something carved into it with a blade. "IT won't let us leave." He opened it. Silence. A bedsheet was stretched over something, breathing. He shut the door immediately. And then, from deep inside the ship, came footsteps. Too many. But no voices. He ran toward the exit. But the hallway stretched longer than before. He turned a corner, ended up in the same place. Again. And again. He closed his eyes, counting the turns. But the layout had changed. The ship didn't want to let him go. And then he heard it. "You came aboard. That means you stayed." He couldn't feel his hands. His body was heavy, unresponsive. He collapsed inside a cold utility shaft. Above him, a valve too far to reach. He tried to move. And then, from the dark, a figure emerged. Looked like a sailor, but soaked. Its face, distorted. It reached out, and everything went black. His body disappeared. When rescue crews finally boarded the ship, it was empty, except in the captain's logbook, left open on the desk. Someone had written on the last page, "One boarded. No one left." No one screamed. No one called for help. Just one more man disappeared. And no one ever found out how. Because the dead don't return to shore.